Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, and more. Follow Elliot in the Morning everywhere social at EITM Online.
Paul Virzi. Hi, Paul.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Oh, dude, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Two things real quick as we get going. Number one, the Netflix special is freaking awesome.
Oh, thank you, man.
It is so good.
Thank you for watching.
Number two, though, I know tomorrow night is the Improv.
Yes.
Now, you know you could do more than one night.
Well, I'm
most people come in, it's like, oh, we're here all weekend, or we're doing multiple shows.
I'm actually doing
I'm doing one show, and then that's it. Then I go to Philly and do one show.
That's it.
And that's the tour.
Well, my wife said I needed to be here this week.
Way to take advantage.
No, that's what my wife said. My wife is like, you could do your stuff during the week. I need you here for the weekend because we were just in Europe together.
Right.
And now I left her with the kids.
Right.
And she was like, the weekend, okay, I need you home with me this weekend.
Okay, but she knows that you're a comic. That
Yes.
weekend is where the money. Weekend is what got you to Europe. She knows that.
You know, you're trying to get me in trouble. She's listening. But yeah, she does know that. She does know that. But we got, listen, Elliot, you want me to come clean? We're fighting. Me and my wife are fighting, Elliot, okay? Things are bad at home. Is that what you guys want to hear? Things are bad at home. And no.
Can I ask you a question about her? Because in the special, you make a reference to that you live in Westchester.
Yeah.
Up on like some beautiful plot of land, and there's like animals and horses.
That's right.
Because your wife has a good job and makes a lot of money. What does she do?
No, she's in finance, you know, and she works for a client, like she retains clients and stuff for like mutual bond, all things that I don't know about, you know. All I know is she got promoted to vice president, and my life my life has been better ever since.
Amen.
So that's why I'm like, yeah, I'll be doing radio all week. You guys have fun. No, but yeah, she's great. She was holding it down for a long time, and she's the best.
Is it true at one point at what point did you guys meet? Like how far you guys have been together a while?
So this is crazy. The girl that I dated in high school,
right?
Okay, was best friends with my wife in junior high school, but my wife happened to go to the rival high school in our neighborhood.
Okay, so wait a minute. So going back to the girl you dated in junior high.
No, in high school. In high school.
Was best friends with your wife in middle school.
Yes.
But when high school came,
they split.
Right.
So while I was dating this girl, I would hear stories of my wife.
Right.
And this is a true story. The first time that I ever in my life spoke to my wife.
Right.
She called me when I was a senior in high school. And she goes, I heard you're cheating on my friend. How dare you? Who do you think you are? That's the first interaction I ever. And I'm going, who are you? And I've been broken up with your friend. Like, stop calling me. That was the first interaction I ever had in this world with my wife. And then I was a busboy at Applebee's.
Right. Oh, very good.
I was a busboy. I was moving up. I was moving up. A busboy at Applebee's. And my wife happened to be best friends in high school with the manager of that Applebee's. So she just kept popping up in my life.
Your wife's best friends with a lot of people.
Everywhere I went, this woman kept popping up. I'm not even kidding.
Right.
And then I moved to Queens.
Right.
And she moves to Jersey City.
Right.
And happened to say, hey, I hear you're in Queens. Let's, get together and go to dinner. But she didn't want anything to do with me as far as more than friends.
But how do you? I don't even understand how you get to the point where. So, like when you were working at Applebee's and she was friends, you guys exchanged numbers.
No, she
already had your number.
Well, she would show up because her friend from high school was a manager.
Right. But why did she call you and go like, "Hey, do you want to get together?" Well, she was hot for you.
Well, she knew. I think she probably.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest.
Right.
No,
she was like, "I got to attach myself to this rocket. We're taking off."
And she was at oddly, she took a date to my first ever show in New York City when I was 21 years old.
Wait, somebody else?
She went, yeah.
Did you invite her though? You were like, "Hey, I'm going to go."
No,
or she was just out.
I just said I'll be at this place, and she came with a date. But here's another great story. Okay, I told my wife at a bar.
Right.
4 years before we started dating. She was with somebody and I was with somebody. And I said, I'm going to marry you one day. That's the guys on it. I Tony Montana her. I swear. Yeah, Tony Montana before the drugs. No, that's the truth. So this woman just kept popping up in my life, man. And now we have 2 beautiful kids, and this November will be 15 years.
15 years?
15 years this November. It's crazy.
Man, if you got credit for all the rest of it, it'd be like 30 years.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy. No, but I was going to say, I thought I had read something or heard something where you talked about, and I mean, obviously not knowing there was that much history leading up to it.
Yeah.
Like as it was starting to get serious, or right as it was getting serious, like you sat her down. You guys were at a diner eating, and you were like, "Listen, I'm a comic, and I'm doing like open mics, and I'm trying to get going.
Wow.
And you're like going to be like a vice president one day. You got to decide, like, I'll get there, but slow your pace down a little bit."
This guy's a pro. This guy's the best. How do you? I mean, you're just freaked me out. Like that's what happened.
I too am best friends with your wife. No, but that's got to be a hard conversation to have.
You were at that Applebee's. No, I was sitting down because I was doing anything I can do. I was doing contests. I was doing the urban circuit. I would go to a room, and I would be the only white person. It would be 300 black audience members with the arms crossed going, "Make me laugh." Like I came up 8 Mile style, and that's the truth.
Right.
And
can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
Can you explain when you say you were doing contests? What does that mean?
So it would be like, hey, you come in, you sign up, you put your name in a piece of paper, you put in a thing. If they call you and you're the funniest, you win $1,000. Like I was doing anything.
Are you serious?
I was standing on soda crates in bars in Jersey, yelling my jokes while people are cutting chicken parm, trying to look at the TV with their family members. That's real. Like this guy. I remember one time this guy and his son were eating an Italian meal, trying to look at a TV in a restaurant, and I'm going, "So my grandmother." Like it was like anything that I could do. But I was doing all that stuff, and me and my wife Stacy were in a diner in New York City, and my wife, beautiful woman, great grades, could have went to any college, and like she's just, and I said, "You're beautiful, you could be whoever. Doctor, lawyer, you could do whatever you want." I said, "You just need to know something." And I can't even believe I was smart enough to know this then.
Right.
Because it's one of the greatest things that I've ever, but I'm sitting across from her and I said, "Look," I said, "I can be well off in my 30s or 40s, or I could be broke in my 30s or 40s, but I'm doing this. So you need to talk to whoever it is you need to talk to. You need to round up your family, have a meeting, whatever, and tell them but this is what I'm doing."
Right.
And she went to her mother.
Did she really?
Yeah, she went to her mother, and she told her, and her mother's a lawyer, and her mother said, "Absolutely not." Her mother said, "Leave this kid now and spare yourself from what's going to happen." But she was like, "No, I'm gonna stick with it." So
when you had that conversation and you were like, I'm either going to be all right in my 30s and 40s, or I'm going to be broke in my 30s and 40s, but I'm doing stand-up comedy.
Yep.
In your head, which way were the scales leaning? Were you like, "You know what? I don't know if I'm ever going to make it.
No,
but God damn it, I have to do this."
I know that this sounds crazy, but not making it was never even an option. I said, because I saw where I was at open mics.
Right.
And I saw like, even when I sucked, I felt like I was at the top of people that sucked. Like if there was a group of everybody that sucked,
I'm the best loser.
As long as I'm on the upper echelon of everybody that sucks,
right?
And I see some potential, but I always did, and I kind of believed, and it was just a slow thing. But I would have big comics. I remember what kept me going was there would be a big comic,
right? Or
like hey man, that was really funny. I remember one instance where I'm sure you guys know he was in 30 Rock, Judah Friedlander.
I love Judah.
I remember, and I was just starting. I was doing bars, and he happened to be there, and I did a set, and he came in the bathroom and just stood at the urinal next to me, and he just goes, "Hey, dude, you're really funny, man. That was fun." And that, like, lifts you.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you just move on. And then I remember I performed in front of Robert Kelly and Bill Burr, and both of them were like, "Dude, you're funny." So when you're coming up and people that you've looked at,
right,
and that you've seen go, "Hey, you're funny," that lifts you. And that gives you, so even when you're down and you have no money,
right,
you're like, "Okay, maybe I'm onto something." And that keeps you going,
So the starting out, like you said, you're coming up, you're doing every black club, you're doing crates, you're doing contests, whatever it was. Does that seem like a long time ago or a short time ago?
Oh, that's actually a great question. It feels long. It feels long now, but in reality, it wasn't that long. Like I remember one of the first things my first manager sent me to. He goes, "You're gonna do a club? No, you're gonna do a restaurant in Staten Island, and the guy's gonna give you $150, right?" And I'm like, $150? That's incredible, right? And I get there, and I swear to you, the owner goes like this. He goes, "Hey, kid, look, I didn't want to do this." That's the first thing. That's the first thing he said. He goes, "Look, I didn't want to do this." He goes, "I would have just got local guys to bring their friends. Your manager said you and a couple guys are funny." He goes, "And here's the other thing." He goes, "We don't have a microphone." And he goes, "I swear to God," he goes, "there's a Radio Shack down the street. If you want to get one, I'm not paying for it." And I stood in the middle of a thing, just like, but for $150. And now I'm pissed at that first manager. How can you put me through that? You were the worst. I can't even believe I trusted all the stupid things you said to me. You're the worst manager ever, but you got to go through those things.
Sure. How is the special doing on Netflix?
The special was globally trending and it was doing fantastic. And
dude, it's ridiculously good.
I got some messages from some legendary comedians that saw it and was just like, "Dude, you nailed it." And I put a lot of work into it. The pandemic, in a way, was kind of a blessing because when I thought the hour was getting ready,
right,
and then I was able during the pandemic to kind of really hone those jokes and just having people say there's no fat in it. It was really, really good, and it means a lot, and it did great for Netflix. So thank God.
I do like it. It's early on in the special where you talk about like, I hate that it's over. I was laying around in sweatpants doing dick all day, and now we got to get out. Like, this sucks.
Oh, dude, I was playing Scrabble on Tuesday afternoons with my kids. It was unbelievable. I was going to arcades. I was it was incredible. And no traffic.
Right. And then you even joke about how and now the excuse is over, that you can't use it as the excuse anymore.
Well, here's the other thing too, and people get a little sensitive with this, but I was, I get bad thoughts. I'll get bad thoughts, dark thoughts.
Right.
Like we all do.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't mean it, but it's just with my mind. But I remember driving to the city when nobody was on the road, when it was 50% capacity.
Right.
And then now the other night, New York City's opened. And I'm in bumper to bumper, and I'm going, didn't people die in this city? I saw what was going. This was where are these people coming from? They were stacking bodies. Where are these people coming from? And I obviously don't want to think that, but that's what New York's back. I can promise you that. New York City's back.
Were the people at Planet Fitness thrilled with your special?
No, I got some messages. I got some letters from a couple things, but I'll take that for the joke. What am I going to not go to Planet Fitness anymore? You're doing me a favor.
The other part, and I don't want to ruin the special for anybody, but the other thing that I imagine is now that the special is out and people are seeing it, and now that you're out on the road, I imagine you will be the guy that people want to tell their fetishes to.
Yeah. It's funny that you said that because they were asking hey, if Netflix wants to do a best of, what jokes do you want to do? And people were kind of posting that joke, but I'm fascinated with what people find as a fetish.
Right.
Dressing up as rabbits or whatever they do. I'm actually it actually fascinates me that's where somebody,
that's where somebody's head goes, sure.
Right, but then I'm married with 2 kids, so my fetish is just 5 minutes alone with my wife. My fetish is my kids pulling out of the driveway. That's I'm just staring at the driveway, looking in the blinds like a creep when everybody leaves, chase them. No, but but I find that funny. So people were really getting a kick out of that one for sure.
What was the for How old were you, Paul, when you saw Eddie Murphy's Raw?
My dad took me to see Eddie Murphy Raw when I was in 1987. So I was 9 or 10, and it was totally against my mother and grandmother's will. They were like, "You cannot take this boy to see this." And I was a huge Eddie Murphy, and my dad was like, "Oh, I'm not going to take him." And of course, he took us, and that was it for me. That's
the changing point. I was listening to, and forgive me, I don't remember his name. There was somebody on your podcast, and you were talking to him, and he said the same thing, that for him, he's gone on to be a director now. The guy that you were talking to.
Oh, it might have been Mike Young.
That's
Young?
it. Yeah.
Great guy.
And he was talking the same thing, that it was seeing. Well, I guess he said that he had seen Eddie Murphy live, but seeing the movie, you said for you was life changing.
Yeah, there's two generations, and Eddie Murphy hit them both. There was the delirious Eddie Murphy, which hit the comedians that are probably like 5-6 years older than me. They always say the red suit.
Yeah, right.
But for me, it was the black and blue suit,
right?
Which was raw. But I remember being in that theater. I was in Yonkers, New York, at this place called Movie Land, and I remember just sitting there, and I didn't even understand all of the. I mean, I'm 9-10 years old,
right?
So he's doing references of people like, you know, J.J. Walker and Danny Terry, all these people that I don't. But he brought me there, and with his drunk father telling the mother, "You can never go outside again." I was so into that, and I think that's why the storytelling. That's why I'm more of a storyteller. I mean,
sure.
In this special, you'll see I do more of both.
Right.
But I love putting you in a thing, and that's why what really resonated with the special was the last joke with my son playing basketball.
Oh, right,
and where he tests me for the first time as his father, and so many people got into that. But like Eddie Murphy is why I love that.
And it's funny because yes, you are a storyteller. Not a big fan of transitions, though. Not a huge fan. It's just like, and here we go.
I was always doing that younger, like, oh, well, let's flow this into. Now I'm just like, let's, you know, the other night I was in London and I just said a joke about like somebody. And then the next thing I said was like, I hate homeless people. I'm done with homeless. I'm done with the homeless. And they were just like, wait, what? And I was like, I got an explanation, but I literally just went to how I hate homeless people after I said something about my children. Listen, I got a certain amount of time. I got to get to everything.
You know, that reminds me of I hate cancer charities.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah, like I'm not running like these. Like my mother. Listen, my mother had stage 4. My mother had stage 4 cancer, and thank God, modern medicine. My mother's okay. But I mean, this whole like you want to do a Tough Mudder, you want to jump over walls. I was like, I'll write you a check. I'll cut you a check. I'll spend the most. I'm not running 5 miles. I'm not running any miles for like. You know, and then that's what I say in the thing. I'm like, let's go to an air-conditioned movie for pancreatic cancer. Let's fill up movie theaters and do that. I'm not, but
I can't remember what it comes out of. But it's like literally, it may have been like, and that's the nicest person I met. Sip of water. I hate cancer charities.
Hey, these are the things you get when you come to my show. I'm going to be at the DC Improv tomorrow, one of my favorite rooms. And here's the other thing: if you do come to the show, I'm not doing 1 minute of the Netflix special.
That's what I was going to say.
You're going to get a whole new hour.
So everything that's in the Netflix special is done. But I feel like, okay, so I get to almost 2 for 1. I'll watch the special.
That's what I'm saying. Like people can watch my special tonight or tomorrow before the show, and then you'll see a whole new thing. And that's one thing that I learned coming up is like, you can't do that to people.
Right.
You know, you can't. And I don't want to do that. You know, I remember they were asking me, they're like, hey man, would you want to do like the Tonight Show or something like that and just use like maybe 5 minutes from the special? I'm like, no. I'm not going to have anybody see anything that I've done, and then just going, oh, I saw that. It's like, I want you to see. I want you to see something new and see what I'm working on, and see how I'm evolving. You know, that's what I want to do.
Compare. So if you take Paul Virzi the special,
yep,
and then Paul Virzi the show at the Improv tomorrow night,
yeah.
I'm sure you're going to say the new hour is, but do you like the new hour as much as the special?
I think that I've. You know, and I don't want to sound arrogant because that's not who I am, but I've never been better than now. I think I'm better than the special. I'm just really, somebody said this to me the other day, I'm just free on stage now. I'm just going to say what I feel.
Right.
I'm in a place where I'm just free. I'm believing in what I'm saying, and it may be ridiculous. It may sound, but like it's coming together really nicely, and I'm really excited about it for people to see it. And some of the best compliments I've got is, hey, like this is like, could be another special, and it's not, you know, it's not yet, but right. I like hearing that.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, so let me do this. Paul Virzi is with us. Nocturnal Admissions is streaming now on Netflix. DC Improv tomorrow night, Thursday night in Philly, and that's the tour. All right, give me a quick break. More with Paul Virzi next.
Connect with Elliot in the Morning on Instagram.
Access granted.
At EITM Online.
Paul Virzi is with us. Nocturnal Admissions streaming on Netflix now. DC Improv tomorrow night. Go to dcimprov.com to get all of your tickets. You had mentioned you were overseas.
Yes.
Was that work or pleasure? I know you did work.
Yes.
But did you go work or did you go pleasure?
Well, what I did was I called my agent and I said, the Giants are playing the Packers.
Right.
Let's get a gig. That's the guy's honest truth. I said, the Giants are playing the Packers on October the 9th.
Right.
I said, is there something we can do in London? So we get a gig in London in Soho. I sold it out. We added another one.
Right.
So Friday was sold out. We added one Saturday, and then Sunday we go to the game. The Giants win.
Right.
And I was actually on the NFL Network out there, and I predicted the Giants winning.
Right.
Thinking, what are you doing? And they won. And then I took my wife, my little girl, and my son. We got on the bullet train over to Paris. And we were there for 3 days, just on leisure.
So if the Giants weren't playing the Packers, this trip never happened.
This 8-day trip to Europe might never happen. As a matter of fact, I go as far as to say it's probably not going to happen. And I took my kids out of school for 5 days.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because when I was looking at the pictures and I was like, that's real recent. The Giants were just there.
Yep.
And I guess his kids are homeschooled because there's no school.
Well, luckily my son and daughter, they're honor roll every time, everything.
Right.
So I told my wife, I was like, other dummies can't do this. Our kids can do this. Yeah, their friends are dumb. Our kids aren't. Give it the 5 days is nothing for my kids.
So you went over, you were there for the game. Didn't you? You also did you go see Chelsea play?
So my son is getting really big into the Premier League.
Right.
And so my wife was like, you know what? I mean, they're so spoiled. And then the next day was the Giants. So my wife takes my daughter to Tea and Mamma Mia.
Right.
And I take my son to Chelsea. And my son heard older English men say words that he has never heard. I mean, 75-year-old men saying things. And then they would just be like, it's a great experience, huh? Just say the most horrific things ever. And one thing I didn't know about English Premier League is the opposing fans can't sit. There's a separate entrance.
Right.
So I was sitting next to this woman, and she's like, in New York, you sit together? And I was in America, and I was getting, she's like, that's mad. That could never happen here. And I looked, and she goes, that's the corner. So I noticed that there was a guy directing people to a certain section. And I go, really? Why? She goes, people get stabbed. That's how crazy it is. I mean, my son, and I told my son, I said, listen, I've taken you to the garden. I've taken you places and you've heard curses. I go, this is another thing. And he was asking what certain words meant. And I said, and meanwhile, my daughter's listening to Mamma Mia, and my son is listening to the most horrific thing ever, the complete opposite. And they're drinking tea, and my son's watching people screaming. But he loved it. He loved it.
Is it weird though? Because I know that they keep it separated, and you're right. Are there problems at some NFL games or any games? Yeah, of course. Is it weird though when you look and it's like everybody from the opposing team is in one little area?
I thought it was at first, but then I realized it might be the right way.
Really?
Yeah, because the way that it was, they had their chance and their time, and then everybody else had theirs, and it was kind of a respect. It was almost a respect that's them now.
Right.
Where instead of, because I saw what those fans are. Right. And you don't want them mixed in. When I saw what it was, I'm like, thank God for those people. To the point where they go, I said, and this is actually really serious. I said, I don't want my boy to be in any danger. Right. I was like, I can be around rowdiness, whatever. I said, my 13-year-old boy can't be. So they were like, don't sit this area. Don't sit that area.
Oh, no
sit
kidding.
This so we really, I spent like $800 to make my son not get killed. My wife was like, watch tickets. I'm like, I got to watch his safety. So we had the best seats. We were like courtside at the thing.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Just for his safety.
That's awesome. Were you obnoxious at the Giants-Packers game?
No, so I'm not one of those.
Really?
I'm not one of those.
Oh, so no.
I'm on my. I always learn. You treat people the way you want to be treated, and I do the same thing there. Because I was at a Giants game once, and there was a Cowboys fan who was the most obnoxious. It was the only time I actually wanted to see somebody harmed. Right. Like a stranger. That could be a good person. The kid could donate money. I wanted him to be harmed. Right. It was so over the top, disrespectful yelling. And I was like, I'm never going to do that. So I'll cheer. Of course we'll cheer. We'll go. But I'm never going to look at another
Oh, really? So you're pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know what? That's good to hear. I imagine you would have been a touch obnoxious to the. I mean, it was essentially a Packers home game.
It was definitely a Packers home game.
Yeah,
and it was 80-20, and they did all the Packers songs. It was really like that. But I got to tell you, Packer fans afterwards, hey, congratulations! Great,
really?
Great, so nice you made that trip and they won. That's how it was. But certain fans, that's why I am the way. And plus, I got to show an example. I mean, I got my 10-year-old daughter. She'd be throwing beer on somebody, kicking somebody in the head in front of my.
Now, how was the touristy part? Did you enjoy the touristy part?
Well, my wife is one of those. We're going to go on a tour,
right?
So we did like Stonehenge, and we did Bath, that Roman city Bath, and we did.
Is Stonehenge cool?
And we went. I got to be honest with you. No, it was rocks stacked up. I was like, oh, maybe aliens did it. Where's the bus? I'm not even joking. Like, and when you go,
it's not close, right? Isn't it? It's like a schlep to get out there.
You have to, you have to get. And once you get there and you go through and you pay, then there's a shuttle. It's either like a 30-minute walk or a shuttle will take you there in a couple minutes, and you just walk around. It is. Don't get me wrong. When you see it, but then afterwards, it's just what you see on. Like you could Google what I flew to Europe for. You could Google it and go, oh, look, it's stacked. It's a rock on top of another rock. All right, let's go. I'm home. I don't need a flight. But my wife, this is what I've learned about women. Okay. At first it seems like they're wrong and annoying, but then when it's done, they're right. They're right. And I'm not fighting it anymore.
Right.
They're right. They're organized. They get it. You know, when she wakes up 6 a.m. Guys, 6 a.m. You got to, and everybody hates her.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you do it and you see a beautiful day. We went to Windsor Castle, which was crazy. We saw the Queen's resting place, and it was only open 4 days when we were there.
Right.
So it's amazing to see. But yeah, I mean, if I was there, would I have done that? No, I would. I would have flown. I would have flown across the ocean to just eat room service and go do my shows. And I would have said the food in London sucks, and the food in France is great.
Does this give you a better perspective, though, and a greater appreciation for the royal family?
I learned some things, and
Here we go.
I learned some things. The Queen was legit. Okay, the Queen, God rest her soul.
Right.
Okay, but you know, she was like the one that really kind of knew and had the respect. That's one thing I didn't realize.
Right.
You know, she was the one, the Queen was so cool when they banned, I saw this recently too, when they banned Snoop Dogg from there.
Right.
She was the one to go, no, he's done nothing wrong. Like she got.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was just but the other, that one kid's a rat. Harry? Is it Harry? Yeah, that kid's a rat. If you watch my special, I mean, he ratted out his grandmother. That kid's a rat. The other one doesn't, the other one, Meghan Markle. Yeah, she's, yeah. Because every day a 10 falls for a pale ginger. That's what I said in the special. Yeah, that's real love. I can't stand, you know what I mean?
Because in the special, you're like, I don't get the royal family.
Oh, no, I don't get the obsession in America.
Right.
With another, like you watch The Crown and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, someone's counting down the days
the
for
Charles
the
and
coronation.
Diana stuff exclusively.
Right. Yeah. The Charles and Diana stuff is kind of fascinating too. And then, I was asking questions about that. So I definitely, being there, you ask questions and you find out. But I was really taken back by how the level of respect, and I mean across the board, the Queen. The Queen was like, they shut it down for the Queen. London was just, they watched it. People were waiting hours and hours just to see the casket and stuff. And there's something to be said about that. Right. My frustration and what I just said, which I said in the special, is with the, with the disrespectful grandson and they're just ratting people out to Oprah. I can't even understand ratting out your grandmother. Because when they were talking about, is there racism going on, or like they know who they're talking about, a 90-something-year-old woman who has different ways. It's like, yeah, so I can't, and then I think now they got a Netflix show.
They're supposed to.
Or they,
yeah.
Right? Or
I thought they dialed that back, though.
They got podcasts going. I mean,
Yeah.
it's... Yeah, did Louis XIV want a podcast?
The other so let me go back to the Packers for a second and the Giants game, because I just want to quote you from something that I saw you say with anything better from your Anything Better with Bill Burr. I love this game. I love this game. I love this game. Take the Packers all the way. I believe you lost that game.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And here's why. The reason why I said that is because it's if you're going to be the Packers and do this, it's over. And I didn't think he would be over yet.
Right.
And so that's why I was like, it's like when I said, it's like, I want to see the poker hand. If everybody's going that much in,
right,
I want to see the hand. And I did not think, especially after losing to the Giants in London, that they would come back and lose.
Right.
And they did. Luckily, I went. So what it is anything better, me and Bill will pick 4 games each.
Right.
And that's the podcast I do. I do the Virzi Effect, which is alone, but me and Bill lean it more towards sports where we pick 4 games.
How'd you hook up with him?
So Bill saw me feature in right when he actually started to headline himself, probably like 2005, 2007.
Right.
And he just saw me. He took a liking to me. Then he said, hey, why don't you open for me here? As a matter of fact, in 2008, I got a text message from him when I was at Stand Up New York in the city. And he said, hey, do you want to open for me at the DC Improv?
Are you serious?
And it was one of the first weekends, first or second weekend. Second weekend I ever opened for him was here.
Right.
That's when I fell in love with this room. And yeah, we just became friends ever since. He's my son's godfather. I haven't opened for Bill
Is
in
he
years.
really?
He's my son's godfather. I haven't opened for him in about 5-6 years.
Right.
And since he's on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast, and we kind of lost some touch when you don't work together, we said, hey, we've always talked sports. What if we do, even if it's through Zoom, do a sports podcast? We'll pick some football games, and then that's how it goes down now.
Dude, that's pretty cool that he's your son's godfather.
Oh yeah, he was. Bill saw things that I couldn't believe he saw. Like, he would say things to me that I would do.
Right.
6 or 7 years before I do it, and I couldn't. And I was just. I remember one time he's like, "Man, you're gonna start selling tickets, and you're gonna get a special." And I'm going in my mind. I'm going, dude, I made $300 this week. I'm like whispering. My kids are sleeping. We're in a small apartment. I'm like, I can't even talk loud because my house is so small. And I'm making 300. And he was like, no, you'll see. And so like having that and having a mentor like that to really see that, and then he put me in very big situations like
right.
Carnegie Hall and Madison Square Garden, and so to be able to do that is amazing. So that's why we always wanted to make sure, even when we lost touch professionally, that we always would do something.
Because if you look at if you watch the credits at the end of the special, there's 3 names that pop up on there as like I think executive producers or whatever it is. Bill Burr.
Yep.
Pete Davidson,
yep,
and Al Madrigal.
Yes.
And I love Al Madrigal.
So the thing with the Bill Burr and the Al Madrigal on this special is just because I just decided to stick with All Things Comedy as a production company because those guys are fantastic.
I got
Michael Berlina. They did my first album.
Right.
Then they did my Comedy Central special in 2018. So I just was always going to work with them. And Al and Bill are like the two like principals of that.
Right.
Of that. So that was Pete Davidson is a dear friend of mine, and he became I think Pete was like this 16-year-old kid sitting in Caroline's and saw me and was like, man, I want to do that. And I became one of his favorites, and we just stayed friends. He's the best kid. He's the most misunderstood kid. I'll tell you a story about him in a second that I tell everywhere. I don't care that I repeat it because I want people to know that this is who this kid is. But he was like, I want to direct it. And I was like, yeah. And he was so attentive. Even with everything that was going on with him, he was in the video village and in the sound booth and making sure, Paul's going to tell the story, make the camera come here. He was fantastic. He's the best.
Was I, and if I have this wrong, correct me, and I feel badly if I do, but did you have a part in the movie?
Yes, I did. Wow. So I was supposed to play Pete's dad that dies in a fire.
9/11, sure.
Dies in a fire, and it was amazing because I'm on set and it's me and Judd Apatow, and I'm the last shoot of the night, and it goes amazing. And I'm like, that's Judd, man. Like, that's Judd. That's Anchorman. I'm thinking of all these things, and we have this amazing thing. And then the next day, I get a phone call, and someone goes, hey, man, there's a buzz on set about your scene. This thing is going to get you work. Then Pete tells me, hey, Judd said, wait till you see Paul as your dad. It's great. So I'm like, all right. And then I said to Pete, I go, I just hope the scene makes it. And he sends emoji with the hand on. Of course, it's about you. Like, what are you, nuts? So like an idiot, when Pete said, I'm telling people, no, I'm in this thing. I'm in this thing. I'm playing, like, I'm in this thing. And then all of a sudden, when the first cut came, they had changed something because if the beginning of the movie, if you notice, Pete, he tries hurting himself at driving. And because of that, it changed kind of the arc of the film, and they thought that my scene would have been too heavy with that.
Right.
So it didn't make it. But you know, I got to say, I was
You have to go call all those people back?
dude,
Damn it.
I was like, look, Mom, just, you know, I'm a picture on the wall. Like if you look, there's a shrine behind Marissa Tomei. But there was, and then like it was a tattoo on her shoulder, and Pete felt so bad. He's like, no, you can see it. They know it's you. They know that smudge on her shoulder is you.
But what's the Pete Davidson story that you wanted to tell?
The Pete Davidson story is this, and I've said this on podcasts and other radio, but I want people to know it because, you know, this kid is the best, and he really is the most misunderstood, the most down-to-earth, coolest kid. And you know, all the stuff going on with him that you see in SNL and the news, and, you know, who he's dating and stuff like that. And page 6. So it was a rare Saturday night that I was off, because usually, you know, comics are working.
Right.
And I'm off, and I'm on my patio, I'm smoking a cigar. I'm just hanging out, smoking a cigar, and I'm scrolling through my phone. And I go, who could I call? Who could I call right now? Oh, Petey, I got to return Pete's call. So I call Pete, and when he answers the phone, I hear him, and he goes, hello? And I look at the phone, I realize it's 11:47. He's on Saturday Night Live. The show, this is true, the show is going on. Now, it registers with me, so I almost get mad at him. I go, dude, why are you, I'm so sorry, I didn't even think. I go, why are you answering the phone when you're at work? And he goes, no, man, I just want to make sure you're okay. You good? Is everything okay? That's who that kid is.
Right.
Like, he wanted, me calling at that time to him wasn't me being annoying, was, does my friend need something? Is something wrong?
Right.
So he answered the phone because he wasn't currently in a sketch, but the show is going on on Saturday Night Live. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not some little, like, this is the biggest comedy show ever. So he's just, that's who that kid is, man.
Right.
He's the best. And
now, does he take it a step further and go, oh my God, like, let me make sure everything's okay? Does he go a step further and go, something's wrong, because if this moron is calling me in the middle of Saturday Night Live, this better be bad?
No.
Oh, no. It literally was, he would only be, are you okay? All right, good.
When he found out that I got COVID, because I got COVID, I was like patient zero, dude. And there was like me and I believe comedian Michael Yo. Michael Yo was at Gotham like a little before it even happened. And then the next week I started losing sense of everything. And when Pete found
Did you really?
Oh yeah, I had it. I got it like I was waiting for an album to drop. Like, I got it like I was online for PlayStation 5, like at midnight. Like, I got COVID when no hospitals had beds. And I'm laying in the thing going, and I started thinking, like, should I call hospital to get a bed ready? Yo, listen, I got a special coming out, so let that other guy die. Just put him on a gurney. My special will make you laugh. Can I get a bed? I was literally thinking things like that. So I'm in the guest room.
How did you know you had it if you were so quick?
I knew I had it. This is how I knew I had it. My wife, it actually freaked me out. I knew I had it because of the center, Rudy Gobert. This is what happened.
Right.
Okay? This is what happened. It's crazy. So my wife...
Wait, Rudy Gobert rubbed his hands all over everybody's phone?
So
was your phone on the table?
No, check this out. This is wild. So my wife pours a glass of wine. She goes, this is a great wine. And I sip it and I go, ugh. I go, what happened to your taste? This is terrible. And then all of a sudden things started tasting weird, but it doesn't register with me. I don't know yet because nobody knows.
Right.
I'm in the guest room. I have a cough and Stacey says, just to be precautious, I say, I don't want to be around anybody. And I'm just scrolling like we do.
Right.
And I see the tweet because Rudy Gobert was one of the first people to get it after he did that. And he felt really bad. And all of a sudden he tweeted and it says updates on Jazz Center Rudy Gobert. And the tweet said, hey guys, thanks for all the loving messages. Everything is going well. But one bizarre symptom is I can't smell or taste for 4 days. We're trying to figure that out. I go down into my bathroom. And I take a potpourri, the spray, the Glade, and I sprayed it in my face. And when I mean sprayed it in my face, I got wet, and I smelled nothing. So now, but no, you guys got to understand something. What's happening here? There's no symptom. Nobody in the world knows that this is a symptom yet. I just saw Rudy Gobert say, "I can't smell or taste anything." I sprayed Glade in my face. I don't smell it. I run upstairs. I open a very potent whiskey, Scotch that I have. I don't smell it. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, right? I have a full-fledged panic attack. I get Stacey, get out here. My wife has got to work. The kids are, Stacey, get out here. My daughter is always on my wife in bed. I go, get out here. I got to talk to you. And she just marches down, pissed. She goes, what? And I go, I got COVID. And she goes, what? And she goes, what? I go, I got COVID. And I go, I can't smell or taste anything. But it's not.
She doesn't know.
Nobody knows. No, it's not even national news. I just said I can't smell or taste. I got COVID. And she goes, you woke me up for this? And she started cursing. I go, I'm telling you. And then this is where I start to lose the argument. I go, the center of the Jazz. The center of the Utah Jazz just said that he can't smell or taste anything. I just sprayed Glade in my face and I can't smell or taste anything. And she goes, are you a moron, this and that? And then like 2 days later, South Korea article came out where everybody, and then all of a sudden in the UK, everybody can't smell or taste. I'm going, see? But then here's the best part of the story. The best part of the story is, this is the best part of the story. 5 days later, I see my wife hovering around this candle we have.
Right.
And I just look and I see her try to sneak a smell herself. And I go, you can't smell it, can you? You can't smell, you got sick. You got COVID. And she got COVID. And I go, I tried to tell you at 3 o'clock in the morning a week ago and you didn't believe me. You can't smell things. So then she lost smell and taste.
I love your excitement for her.
Yes. Oh, dude, when she smelled that candle, the joy that came into my heart. Because I knew she wasn't gonna die. You know, I knew she wasn't gonna die because she probably had it for a couple of days. But when she smelled that, I was like, she's got it too, and it totally validated me. And ever since then, I actually kind of like Rudy Gobert better. Like if he's got a good game, I'm like, all right. That's exactly the truth. That's how it happened.
All right, last two things that I want to cover with you. Number one, you tell a very, very sweet story about Bob Saget coming to one of your shows with Stamos, and we love Saget. I mean, who doesn't love Saget? Yeah. But so what was the deal? He and John Stamos were just coming to, or you were getting ready to go up on stage?
Yeah. So what happened was, and I'm not one of these people when like a comic passes away, I don't post things that I know him because I can't say that I know Bob Saget really. Like Bob Saget knew who I was and I knew, and we have mutual friends. Sure. Some of my closest friends were very good friends. So, but I did have an interaction and I didn't want to post about it because that's not who I am. Mm-hmm. But I did talk about it on the show where he was one of the first celebrity comedians that really made me feel like, oh my God, there's like amazing people in this business. And what it was I was doing a show. This comic, Dan Levy, was running a show at Stand Up New York. And he goes, hey, Saget's going to be coming here with Stamos. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I'm going on stage and I'm in my head to do my set. And this SUV pulls up and Bob Saget gets out and Stamos gets out and Rebecca Romaine, Stamos at the time, gets out.
Right.
And they're in there. And dude, it was the weirdest thing. I'm on stage and I'm a young comic now. I wasn't really had too much chops with, crowd work. I was, trying to do my thing. And I see right in the second row, it's Stamos and Saget sitting there just watching my set.
Right.
And I just luckily.
Is that uncommon, by the way? Like, wouldn't they sit in the back of the room?
It was very uncommon, and they were right there at my feet. It was like, normally.
Like, they'd be in the back. You couldn't even see them.
That they would be, they'll go in the back, and then sometimes you don't even know, and they're like, hey, I saw that funny stuff.
Right.
They're just right at my feet. and I don't know what came over me, but I had a good improv moment where I go, guys, dude, I'm doing a set right now, and I said, Uncle Jesse and Danny Tanner are in front of me, and I go, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I go, Full House was not a show that I ever intended to watch. But then 22 minutes later, I'm like, how's DJ going to get out of this one? and I don't know. And they loved it. And people were laughing. And then afterwards, I went up and I was like, hey, man, I don't know how that was. And he was just like, oh, my God, that was so great. And I remember the grace, just the way he was such a nice, genuine person.
Right.
I felt it so immediate. The vibe, the look he gave, and then knowing now the people that I know that know him, that's who he was.
Right.
And so that was, and I'll never forget, and this was when MySpace was big, and I wrote on a blog, I said, here are the nicest people I've ever met in this business, and he was at the top.
Who was right under him?
You know who's amazing in this business is Artie Lang.
Right.
Jim Florentine is fantastic. I forgot who else. There was a list of about 5 guys, but those are people that when you meet them and you just talk to them, I remember as a young guy coming up that just made you feel completely warm and welcome, and you don't forget those things.
Now, will you end up doing so? The special is airing on Netflix. You're at the Improv tomorrow night with
Yes.
a whole different hour.
Whole different hour.
Whole different hour.
Yep.
And then what like I mean, obviously you got cut from Davidson's movie. Are you going to do more movies or TV?
Yeah, so I have a part in a movie that's going to be coming out. I don't know what I could say, but it's coming out.
Have you called
soon.
everybody and told them you're in it?
I actually called the director and I said I'm not doing this again to my family, and I was told that I'm
That
in
you're
this,
in it.
I'm in this one, and we're also working on.
Okay,
projects.
but you can't tell me what it is. Can you tell me when it comes out? Well, I know you're in it.
Yes.
Or are you going to be like a tattoo on somebody's arm again?
No tattoo.
Right.
No. I'm in a melee. I'm in a fight. I'm in a strip club. So it's yeah.
I like I tried to take those clues like I would have any idea and go like, oh, I think I know what movie he's talking about.
No, it didn't come out yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
but yeah, no, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. So, but yes, I got a movie coming out that will be a big theatrical release. I have a small part in that, but we're also talking about some more acting stuff and some cool
Dude,
stuff.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And I don't know, like I said, I've only seen the special. I haven't seen the new hour. And I don't know what the movie stuff is, but if you don't find a way to work the Cholo voice into stuff,
I know, man.
it is so good.
I know,
It
dude.
is so good.
I felt like that was the one thing when I lost that hour, because people, you want to know, I was in San Diego and Cholo showed up.
Right.
And there were dudes sitting there, and I'm going, they're either fans or I'm going to be harmed tonight. and
It's so funny though.
because it's just, they just sound tired. You know, it's funny. I'm like, are you sure?
So good. All right, go see Paul Virzi tomorrow night at the DC Improv, dcimprov.com to get your tickets. Nocturnal Admissions is now streaming on Netflix. Dude, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me, man.
Really
I appreciate it, man.
And if we get bored, we'll watch the Yankee game together later.
Hey, man, you let me know. Let's do it. Go Yanks.
All right, very good.
Sorry.